Hey all, welcome back to another F1 Fantasy video. Post Mexican Grand Prix, heading into the Brazilian Grand Prix. And oh boy, have I got a video for you. Now, of course, I'll go through the changes in the prices of every F1 driver and constructor. I'll also go through the teams and the chips and look at my league. Now, I'll show you my league standings at the minute because I'm actually very happy with it. Because I had Daniel Ricciardo in my team. So I'm almost top 15,000, which was my goal for this season in F1 Fantasy. So I'll be very happy to reach that goal. But before we talk about the big changes, remember to like and subscribe. Follow my Twitter for any updates on F1 Fantasy. I didn't do them last weekend, but I was quite busy last weekend moving about. But this weekend I'll be much more active on it. And of course, follow my league. We've got 122 people in it at the minute. I'm aiming for 125 by the end of the season. So let's get into it. Right, so first off, of course, we'll start off with Max Verstappen. 0.2 million price increase. He goes up every weekend. He will be over 30 million by the end of the season. Must have. Lewis Hamilton, 25.2 million at 0.2 million increase. Now, I would love to have Lewis Hamilton in my team. He is getting consistent good points. Bar United States or Qatar, actually, he didn't do well there. But it's looking like he could grab second in the championship. However, for 25.2 million, it's still not enough of a push-up because you'd have to, I'll talk about it in the teams later, but you'd have to probably move Lando Norris to an Alonso who's looking like a stinker at the minute. Then your Russell, Sainz or Perez to an Hamilton, which is all right, but considering how many points Norris gets you compared to how many points Fernando gets you, it's not worth it. Then you've got a 0.3 million increase for Charles Leclerc, again too expensive though. George Russell, 0.1 million. He's one I'll be looking out for. Again with Sergio Perez, I'll be looking out for him. 0.2 million down, however, but that's because of his crash on the first lap. Carlos Sainz, 0.1 million. Again, decent race weekend for him. One to watch. Lando Norris up $1 million. He is now with the big boys in terms of pricing. It's finally happened this season. You had to have had him now, but even at his price here, I would still go for him. Alonso down 0.5 million. It's just bad after bad for Aston Martin. Double DNF. Steer away from their constructor as well. Oscar Piastri plus 0.5 million. Again, a decent result from Piastri. He's just good to have, considering Pierre Gasly, the next person I'll speak about, was up 0.5 million. And Pierre Gasly gets you less points than Oscar Piastri. Lance Stroll up 0.5 million. I don't really know how he's done it, considering he only got 8 points. Up to 12 million, steer clear of Lance Stroll. Esteban Ocon up 0.5 million. Again, actually decent race for him. He got a point. However, steer clear of the Alpines. Alex Albon again getting points. He's making a habit out of it now. And 13 points isn't bad for him. However, again, for 11.3 million, nope. Valtteri Bottas stays the same. Kevin Magnussen down 0.1 million. He should be down a lot more than that. It's ridiculous how highly priced Bottas and Magnussen are. Then Tsunoda up 1 million. Again, what a race from him. It was such a shame he just wasn't a bit more patient and he would have got more points. Nico Hülkenberg up 0.5 million. Again, he had a decent race. Logan Sargent stays the same. And Daniel Ricciardo up 0.5 million as well. What a race he had, getting 12 points. Of course, it's funny how it works out because Yuki Tsunoda had a better race going forward, then dropping down and then getting a few more race overtakes. He actually got more points than Daniel Ricciardo. F1 Fantasy, please fix up your scoring system, but I'll talk about that in another video once the season's over. Then constructors wise, it goes as followed. Mercedes up 0.1 million, Ferrari up 0.3 million, McLaren up 0.3 million, Alpine up 0.5 million, Aston Martin down 0.1 million, Williams up 0.5 million, AlphaTauri 0.5 million, Haas 0.1 million, and Alfa Romeo stay the same. Now, I've sped through the constructors very quickly because I want to make it plain and simple for anyone who's watching these videos. Red Bull and McLaren are all you want to look at. If you're using Limitless, change to Mercedes or Ferrari, depending on whoever is looking the better for the day. That's why constructors are so simple this season, because you don't even want to be looking at Aston at this point. And constructors are key in F1 Fantasy, like I've said multiple times. Right, let's go have a look at the teams you could have for Brazil. Now, you've got the generic teams I've spoken about loads and loads of times. It's the Russell, Perez and Sainz team. However, there are new teams that are coming about that I've actually already slightly spoken about. Now, I'd like to call this the Lewis Hamilton team. He has been fantastic this season in that Mercedes. And now, if you could replace Russell to an Hamilton and then change Norris to Alonso, now, will it get you more points? I believe no. However, if Alonso picks up his socks maybe has a bad qualifying but then gets loads of overtakes, that team could work out for you. Again, there is actually a way to get Hamilton now in your team. Now, for me, I don't think it's worth doing that. However, differential-wise, go for it. It's a great differential. So that's a new team you could use on top of the Sainz, Russell, and Perez teams. Now, like I've always said, and I will do this race on Twitter, I will be saying what team I will be going for. Probably will be Carlos Sainz. I went for George Russell the last 2 weekends and it hasn't really worked out. But knowing my luck, that will mean that George Russell will be winning that race. So maybe go for the opposite that I say. Really annoying though that if you did miss out on the Yuki Tsunoda price increases like I did, it's a shame because you could easily drop him down now to Ricciardo, get a few extra mil in, and potentially bring Russell, Perez, or Sainz up to a Leclerc. That's the other team you could do if you had Tsunoda. Tsunoda down to Ricciardo, Russell, Sainz, or Perez up to Leclerc. And what a team that would be, especially with Verstappen, Piastri, and Norris involved as well. And of course, the final team you would want to use is the cheap team. And again, like I said, for your cheap team, you're going to want Red Bull, McLaren, Verstappen, Piastri, Norris, and then 2 cheap drivers to lower your costs. So that would probably be Logan Sargent and Daniel Ricciardo. And that is my cheap team for you. Again, if you need to lower it a bit more again, you'll probably have to drop to an Alonso or an Albon. I'd probably go to an Albon to save even more money if you really needed to, which is a shame. But if you only need a little bit more, Piastri to Albon. If you need a lot more, Norris to Albon. But that wraps up the F1 fantasy teams you could have for Brazil. Now, are you going to use any chips this weekend? Yes, yes, yes. Again, like I've said, I'll speak about Limitless on my Twitter page for F1. And it basically is, like I said, it's having Red Bull plus Mercedes, McLaren, or Ferrari, whoever's looking better on the day. And again, the same team-wise. You're going to want Hamilton, Leclerc, Norris, and Verstappen. Non-negotiable, purely because it spreads out your team a little bit, and also those 4 drivers are getting you the most points at the minute. Now, it's up to you if you then want Perez, Sainz, or Russell. I would probably go for Sainz at the minute. It's hard to put Perez in the team because of how bad he's been, but like in Mexico, if he didn't actually crash on the first race, he would have got you quite a few points. But again, focus on the practice. Although it's a sprint race weekend, you have to be careful. So I would probably just stick for Sainz if you want that Limitless team, and I'll show that Limitless team. Then again, with extra DRS, if you've got it, use it. Then you're going to want to put it on Verstappen, of course, and then you're either going to want to put it on your second best driver, who, whichever team you have, could be Leclerc, Hamilton, or Norris. Those are the 3 you want to be putting the 2 times on when you got the 3 times on Verstappen. And then if you've got any other chips, just be using them in Brazil, especially the no negative one, because a sprint race weekend, you can have more crashes and you don't want to be losing out any more points. So that sums up the chips to be used for Brazil. So let's have a look at my league, and thank you all so much for joining it. Link in the description, link in the comments, and I'll put it on the screen right now. Thank you so much for joining it. 122 of you as of the recording. Our league is so competitive, and I love that. So thank you all for joining it, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. So let's shout out the top 5 as per usual. And the top 5 are as followed. We have a new leader in the league. Rivaldi F1 team, congratulations. You've made the jump up from 3rd to 1st, I believe. Well done. However, oh my god, Rahman 1, El Shemali, 2nd and 3rd place. The gap is 8 points. Wow, what a few races we have got coming up. Now, this is actually giving me goosebumps. Genuinely, I might be more excited about this race for top of the Zach F1 leaderboard than the actual end F1 race at the minute. Oh my god, you 3 are putting on a show. Congratulations to all you 3. So, also congratulations to Leapers 1, who's in 4th. You've had a drop down as well. However, stick to it. Again, you are only 30 points behind, so you have still a chance to be in for the 1st place. So stick to it. And then also, Sani Formel 1 sticking in 5th. Congratulations. Again, you have an outside chance of still getting that 1st. You have to do a screamer, or maybe you've got Limitless or extra DRS left that no one knows about. But well done to all of you. I'm so excited to see what happens with the rest of this league. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and took out some tips you could use for the Brazil race for F1 Fantasy. I'll see you all later. Have a good week. Bye-bye.